my name is Brian, and today we're going to talk about what I do on the weekends as a 26-year-old living in the greater New York area. And I say greater New York area because I'm kind of cheating. I'm in New Jersey, Jersey City technically, but 10 minutes away from New York, and most of my time is spent in New York. Anyways, fair disclaimer here, which I think is very important when I talk about weekends, when anyone talks about weekends, especially as a mid-20s-year-old. I have a girlfriend, so a lot of the weekend time, especially as a pretty busy person during the weekday, is taken up by the miss or the lady friend. So if dating is not your thing, maybe skip this video. Not gonna be very entertaining. Or you're in the middle of trying to get into dating or like trying to court a girl or a guy, maybe don't listen to this. But majority of my time, typically on the weekends, with my girlfriend. And my girlfriend probably disagrees because I think the previous couple of weekends I've been quite busy with other things, but mostly I like to reserve at least Saturday for the girlfriend. And then I think the other side of this is I'm a heavy churchgoer, addicted Christian, I should say. So most of my Sunday is used at church. I'm talking 8 a.m. through 6, 7 p.m. at the least. So my weekend really just consists of Saturday. And I'm going to talk through that in itself and then briefly cover what I go on Sundays with. So on Saturday, if I go on a date or hang out with my girlfriend, very limited. Perhaps I'm just not rich enough to enjoy the true funness of New York, but I think most people at my level could agree that New York, there's really not that much to do unless you're like super active or super rich or somewhere in between. I just go eat good food, go explore fun cafes, sometimes do something extravagant like go watch a musical. Very rarely do like an activity like a escape room, but mostly just walk around. New York is, I think, very fun to walk around, especially as spring and summer rolls out. Do a lot of Soho, Lower East Side, West Village, Hudson Yards, walking around. Me being in Jersey City when I live, even this coast, I could see New York right now, is super fun to walk around in this river walk or lake walk near Newport and Hoboken. Very beautiful and very different in what you can do. There's not many malls. I do live near a mall right here with Newport Mall, but aside from that, not many malls, or at least not indoor malls you could explore in New York. That's fun, at least in my opinion. Besides, there's one near Hudson Yards, which is pretty extravagant. Of course, I'm forgetting the name, but that one, besides that one, there's not much to really walk around unless you're outside. I think Soho walking around on the weekends, beautiful, tons of people, especially if you're extroverted like me. You could also go to Brooklyn, explore Dumbo, Williamsburg, all those areas. Beautiful. Bottom line, walk around, eat good food. When it comes to how do I find the good food, you just Google. I literally just search. TikTok actually is a very great search tool for eating. You can literally type in like Lower East Side, West Village, Upper West, Upper East, all these blank neighborhood eating, blank neighborhood food on TikTok, and beautiful shots of these reels and TikTok's clips of the foods and which order, where it is. The vibe is all there. Do that. That's my like date secret. There's hours that I rest. I think some people seem to think that I either do no work or only work. I rest. On Saturdays, I try to stay in this bed behind me, very comfortable, queen size, lay on my back, scroll through Instagram, scroll through YouTube, like I'm sure 99% of you guys do. I try to get over this, like, I have to be efficient and make use of my time all the time disease that I have and this anxiety, and try to gift myself that rest. And especially as an extrovert and like a people addicted person, I think I try to stay away from that and give time to myself and myself only. I even try to get off social media as a whole, just because my daily life and even my job is so heavily tied to social media. I don't go on Twitter, on Instagram, even TikTok, and especially not YouTube on the weekends. And I try to put myself more into consuming content, especially because I'm so obsessed with creating content during the week, if that makes any sense. I think I would like to spend a majority of my time doing absolutely nothing, but I'm very bad at that and I feel guilty for wasting any time. So I try to give myself a couple hours, especially in the morning, to just lay there and do absolutely nothing. Very frequently recently, just because we've moved to a semi-big place, my roommate and I, we host things. I think in the past a month and a half or so since we've moved here, we've had people over at least 10 times to a certain degree on the weekends. Just have very low-key, nothing extravagant gatherings where we just order food, hang out, have very late-night conversations about the stupidest things. I think we're about to host people soon, possibly next weekend. That's probably my favorite thing, and the thing that New York a lot of times limits you from because places aren't big enough enough, or it's not accessible because the neighborhood is too big. But shout out to my friends who come all the way here to hang out, and also shout out to my roommate who has found this great place for us to host things, and I hope that continues. And then occasionally super big things like overnight trips, sport games, movies/musicals. Like I said, things that cost money or things that cost time. I do that once in a while. We're planning a overnight to Washington, D.C. soon with my church group, and then probably some kind of back home California trip in the summer with a similar group. Things like that also overtake weekends, but not frequently. And then really, actually recently it's been piling up, but I try not to do this because I have investment banking PTSD, but I try to work sometimes on the weekends if I just have relaxed minds and there's things that I want to churn out or think about, whether it be content or my actual full-time job work. There are sometimes where I take at least Saturday, not Sunday, but on Saturday to do real work and hop on the desk and maybe even edit a video or think about content ideas or go on the various working platforms to catch up on things. And then on a minute level, there's things that needs to be immediately done that only I can take care of that I happily do. And I think in this age of work from home, I don't really feel bad about working an hour or two or even more on Saturdays. That's all to bring me to Sundays, which from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., as I mentioned before, is taken up by church simply because I live about 40 minutes away from church, 30 minutes by public transportation. Not ideal, which gets me to wake up a bit early on Sundays. I have to leave here by 8:30 a.m. to catch the train that gets into the city, which allows me to get to my church by 9 something a.m. And then I have my first staff meeting for my youth group volunteering that I do with high school kids at 9:30 a.m. Then the youth group actually starts at 10:30 a.m. to service till 11:30, to small groups at 12. Have a bit of a lunch break. Then my service, the young adult service, starts at 1. That goes till like 3 most of the time. And there's a small group that I lead, which goes from like 3 to 5. Then we eat dinner together probably every single week. Then we hang out. Last week we hung out till like 10 p.m. So full-time job basically every Sunday at church, which I don't want to say takes away my weekend, but that is my Sunday usage, morning to night, every single week without an exception. The one caveat here is I think a lot of people would like to believe that Friday night is the start of your weekend. I have church on Friday night too. It's every other week I have fellowship for the youth group that I serve, and then for the young adults I have every single week preparation for that small group meeting on Sunday as a small group leader. So Friday night also not off for me, and it honestly feels sometimes like a secondary job. So I think my tip honestly is to keep yourself busy. If you're someone that just needs full rest, and let's say you do like manual labor or you work really hard during the week and the weekend really needs rest, power be to you. For me, I'm a desk person, so I do need some form of rest, but for me, the weekend represents a time where I can comfortably not do the things that I do every single day, which includes work, content creation, working out, and other things like that, that allows me to truly take time off and rest from those things. I think that's what the weekend is for. God designed Sunday for a reason. And then, of course, I dedicate myself to the community things that I'm involved in, which I would categorize as church, my friends, the various activities that I like doing, and then, of course, the dedication that I have to the commitment that I have to my girlfriend. All those things that I think are what I use or make use the weekends for. And then I did forget to say, if people ever visit New York, which happens actually quite often, I try to reserve that also for the weekends. I would like to say that don't live for the weekends. Make sure that you have weekend-like feelings or weekend-like things on the weekdays, and then have things that you anticipate longer term, like summer or spring break trip with the boys or fall trip to Korea, whatever it is. I think it's a lot easier to build up towards that rather than the short-term things where Sunday night you're gonna feel terrible and not want to wake up on Monday. So that's my tips as a mid-20 years old living in New York, how I spend my weekends. Probably not that fun, probably not that exciting for many of you guys listening to this, but that's what it really comes down to. And I think a surprising amount of people that know me personally probably think I live some kind of extravagant life on the weekends. I don't. I'm like with every one of you, leave it pretty convenient. I think that's the word I like to use. Use your weekends to the best ability, have fun, don't stress yourself out, and lose that feeling that I always struggle with of like, I have to be productive at 24/7. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you're watching this on a weekend. And I'll see you guys next time. Let's go.